Hello and welcome, everyone. You have found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle. Linked by the golden thread, we are the lighthouses, beacons of truth guiding the way. Through deep conversations and shared wisdom, we illuminate the path and heal through truth. Here we remember what the world has asked us to forget, that you are not lost, you are not broken, you are the light.
Mm.
So,
Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Yeah.
so good to be back.
I love that statement. I'm going to jump right.
Instantly.
I was just going to say, I love that statement right at the opening of just like, we are the light, and it's remembering. And man, I don't know, through this week, it's been so much coming through of how can we help and encourage and let people know they're the light? Sorry, let's jump right in.
Well, no, that's awesome. And it's true. I mean, as we become aware, we want to plant those seeds.
Mhm.
People are beings of experience. So those of you who are watching, what does that mean? It is a situation where you will have the experiences that will show you what this means. We could tell you over and over and over again what it is, but for everybody, it's so unique and individual. But we want you to know that it is worth exploring. It's worth looking into and being able for us here at the Sacred Circle to hold space. If you have questions, reach out to us. If there's something that you're curious about, reach out to us. If there's something you don't agree with, we're happy to hear that as well, because we're all on this journey together and we're all learning from one another. And agreeing with everything all of the time does not help us to grow.
Yeah, and I guess what we're also saying to you is this is an invitation to you to step into your own light.
Yeah.
And what we can do is create the space for that to happen, but we can't switch the light switch on for you. That's the kind of work you're needing to do yourself. And so we extend a open hearts and a hand up, not a hand out, to activate your own light and the light within you. And quite interesting that we're talking about light when we are moving into eclipse season this coming week, 7th of September. And then later on in the month, with the new moon, it's going to be this. I always get it. I might get it right or wrong. I don't know. But the solar eclipse is on the 7th, and then the lunar eclipse is on around about the 20th or so, 21st of September. And this is bringing around a lot of emotion because there's information that's happening around Cancer. It's in Virgo. I don't know all the stuff because I'm not an astrologer, but what it is saying again, the consistent message that we're getting from the world of spirit is letting go of that which is not serving us and welcoming in the new. And what does that new look like for you? Because it's all very well that we could turn, okay, let's go, let's surrender, let's do all those things. But if we don't have any idea of what the new is going to be looking like, or asking spirit to show us what the new is going to be looking like, we kind of then get left in a vacuum. Not always bad to be in a vacuum, but it's also, this is where you get to start to take responsibility for shaping what your light is going to look like.
Absolutely. It's that element of we're learning to go with the cycles, letting go and being open to receiving with the cycles. I mean, women's menstrual cycle was very much with the men's. That's what they followed back in the day. And if you notice when a group of women are congregating together, generally speaking, everyone's cycle goes in sync, right? So it's that element of you don't have to know, you don't have to um, have a plan, I guess is the best way to put it. But really just exploring what's of interest to you. Where do you want to see yourself? And then taking steps towards that. The whole idea of putting a plan in place doesn't always work because we have our idea, but the universe or the God of your understanding has another idea for what and when we can get those in sync, magic happens. But far often we get into our head and we want to plan it out and we want to know what it's going to look like. And one of the things is surrendering to where you're at and being present to where you're at and look at what is calling to you or resonates for you. those are the things to follow. Those are the things to look at. And as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other, making choices that align with yourself. And I use the word align because there's no right or wrong. Alignment is just, it feels right.
And yeah, one of the questions that you can possibly look at exploring and journaling on is what brings you joy? That's the quickest way to actually connect with what is resonating for you and what you can align with. And if you can't remember what joy looks like or feels like, perhaps check in with your inner child, because she knows what joy looks like and what joy feels like. And getting in touch with that curiosity, the wonder, the exploration. I mean, I love pictures of little children when they bend down to look at caterpillar legs, wondering how the heck the caterpillar is walking along the wall, and the level of fascination and just that sheer, it's not even bravado, that sheer courage that takes them into exploring their worlds with absolute joy. That's the energy and the frequency that starts to activate the light within. Certainly that's been my experience.
I'm jumping in here because I'm laughing. As you're saying, like, kids that look at a caterpillar and like climbing the wall and what do those legs look like? I'm sitting here going, what do they look like? Like, your kids. You don't have to look at a magnifying glass or look on the internet and figure that out, because now I'm curious about it. And this is what I love about this journey, is just the curiosity. Like you said, going back to that childlike curiosity and allowing that experience to just be. And we can do that now. Why do we have to, just as a child, that's, and this is part of the conditioning. We are tend to let go of that joy, that peace, because life happens and we need to take care of the responsibilities and all of the things. And what happened to the curiosity and the fun and the play and the joy?
And we
And
learn to believe that it's supposed to be hard.
oh gosh,
It's
yeah.
supposed to be challenging. And I'm not saying that life isn't. That's the human experience. It does throw challenges our way on purpose for us to grow, and for also us to go, you know what? I don't have to take that so seriously. I can have some fun. Yes, I can be okay with my mistakes, right? And my challenges and my obstacles. Children, they face things without the fear. Generally speaking, when they're of their own devices, there's no fear. They just do it,
Yeah.
right? The fear comes in when parents start giving them the message, don't do it this way or that way, right? But when you look at children in their curiosity and their wonderment and their excitement, fear is not stopping them from doing anything. I
And it
remember
is
my kids climbing a freaking tree when they were little, a pine tree at the school. They're at the very top. I'm panicking. They're just looking at me like, okay, how am I going to get down? And I'm like, you got up there, you'll get down. Didn't mean that I didn't have any panic, but they just went at it, right? The no fear whatsoever. And for the sheer excitement, for the thrill, and for the joy. And look what I did.
I remember watching my son at play school. He must have been 2.5, maybe 3. Not only climbing up on top of the jungle gym and just doing his thing, but also getting on. We have those little plastic bikes, and he used to, the play school that he was at had this long stretch of grass that you could go from the top of the hill down to the bottom, and he would get onto that bike and ride down it with all the joy, laughter in the world. And I'm going, I'm not around when he does all this, when he's at play school. So what am I trying to do to control his joy and his glee when this is how he shows up in his world? And joy, laughter, that energy, the curiosity, the wonder is actually spiritual energy that we're tapping into. Because children, before the system gets hold of them, are pure spirit. And that's what we're tapping into when we tap into our own inner child, is that we're connecting to that innocent soul space that we came into the world in. And so I found so often that when I'm struggling with something, if I tap into the inner child, all of a sudden I get a joyful, gleeful resolution to something that I was taking so freaking seriously. And that kind of brought out another thing for me, and that is, being on a spiritual path doesn't mean to say we have to be so god awful serious all the time. And Spirit was tapping me on the shoulder and kind of going, We want you to do something different as you are bringing business yogi out into the world. So I got curious. We want you to do the laughing yogi. And what the laughing yogi has become is me laughing at me,
Mhm.
becoming, it's things like all these, how many takes do we have to do on a video before we put it up? And the hilarity that comes with that. It's things like spinning all these plates. So all these things that we're doing, and which one do I grab onto next? No, that's not my ADHD showing up. That's me as a multidimensional being showing up. It's that kind of levity
Mm.
that we start to bring into the way that we express ourselves, because that's part of being and walking a spiritual path. It's not all this serious plodding, kind of the one step in front of the other, or one foot in front of the other. There's joy, there's lightness, there's levity. That's part of being the light as well that we opened up with our opening invocation.
Speaking to that inner child aspect, I was on a motorcycle trip, and it was very funny one night. We got into, first of all, Bates Motel. And so there was only one bike. There wasn't a reception. When someone tried to call the reception, it would ring once and then it would go dead. So it was like, okay, we are not staying here. We spent 25 minutes trying to find another location to go to. By the time we got there, everything was closed from a meal perspective other than McDonald's. So here's all these grown ass adults going into McDonald's to have a bite to eat, got talking about something. They were picking on my partner, not in a mean way, but in a really fun way. But what they said got me into such a fit of laughter. The tears were running down my face. We all ended up spitting food out, and it just was uncontrollable. But the feeling that you're left with, connected to, 6 adults, and all of them were male, and there's me in this. And I'm like, oh God, I think I'm tired, right? Because I just could not stop it. Well, that just made everybody giggle even more. And then we have a teenager coming in, to this biker group saying, well, you have to be out in 10 minutes. And we all looked at each other and just started laughing even anymore. Like, okay, you really think that's going to be intimidating and get us out of here? When we're done eating, we will leave. But it was just that whole feeling. I haven't had a fit of laughter like that in a long time. And I'm the type that I will snort if I get laughing to that point. I didn't get quite to that point, but it was close. And one of the other gentlemen had to walk away from the table because he had literally almost spit out all his food. And it's like, that is the joy of an experience, right? We didn't get caught up. We didn't get bitchy about, oh my God, all we got is McDonald's. We went in, we sat down and just had a whole lot of laughter. And it was like being teenagers again in a way,
Yeah.
right? It's just stepping into the fun of the trip and not the, oh my God, what the expectation should be.
That laughter where the tears stream down our faces and our stomachs ache from laughing. Oh, it's the best feeling in the whole world.
Absolutely, it is.
Like, just you mentioning it's like, oh, yeah, like, that feels so good. Like, yeah, anyway. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
And it makes us laugh even thinking about it. I do want to kind of circle back to something that Angela said earlier. I made a note of it so we come back to it. You had mentioned about, sometimes when you're spinning the plates, you're like, oh, that could be my ADHD. Like, I want people to kind of pay attention to the shift that you had there because it was powerful. At least for me, who was like, I've contemplated, I'm not diagnosed, but I feel like, but you said, it's not that I'm a multi-dimensional being. And I don't know how many times I've said this, not so much that specifically, but like people look at the generation, the kids right now that are coming, like this next generation, and there's a whole lot of diagnosing and medicating and all of this stuff. And we mentioned this, I think, on one other call too, about that this generation that's coming is more connected and more dynamic and more understanding of all of this than any of us are. And it's like that is such a powerful way to look at it. And I've looked at it from that perspective as the children, but like even just as these labels, or even like you said, even us as this stage is like that is we are multi-dimensional people. And we get to play in all of these dimensions. And even for those that are just coming into their spirituality, like again, this comes back to the fun. It's the play in all of this, the experimenting, the try something new, the doing a breath work, doing the like whatever feels good for you. This is the play, the joy, and it's because we are multidimensional. Something else I want to mention here too is a week ago, I think I posted about it. And somebody had asked, I was going to get into it, but I didn't. But one of the things I wanted to share then was yes, we're multidimensional. We know we're energetic beings, or at least, as those that are listening, if you're at that point or you're walking into that point yet. But we are literally not just like we try to, oh, the words I'm trying to put together here. We try to manifest, we try to create in the future, and then we're stuck in the past in our memories, and then we recreate from our memories. So we feel like those are the dimensions that we're talking about, like the past and the future. And then there's this conversation. I'm kind of getting mixed up in it. Not mixed up. I'm not mixed up, but it may sound a little muddled. Um, or there's a conversation around time jumping and moving from timeline to timeline. But we are multidimensional. We have all of these dynamics within us. We have an imagination. We have faith. We are energetic beings. We are already multidimensional. And I just don't think we wrap ourselves, understand that deep enough to know that we get to play on all of these planes, on all of these dimensions. Like every part of that is the journey that we're talking about here. Sorry, that got really deep and kind of muddled, but
And that there also, Alana, is accurate. It's multidimensional. A lot of your diagnoses, and I'm seeing this in the work that I do, is that you've got adults now that are going in and getting these diagnoses, because what's happening is they're breaking out of the construct of the control of in the box thinking, and they're tapping into now being able to go in many different directions. But it's a creative mind. And if you really think about it, that's where we should all be operating, is that creative mind, because it's in the flow.
Mhm.
It isn't in structure that all of us have been raised in. Now, all of us have moved beyond a lot of that construct, but now we're seeing more and more people who are actually, I'm being diagnosed. They're not, the cool thing is people aren't being diagnosed to go, okay, I need a medication to fix me. But I have a better understanding of what I'm going through.
And
Now
who I
you
am.
take it to somebody who understands around spirituality and the creativity and the multidimensional, you can work wonders with your life with that diagnosis. It's not a justification to make change. If you understand what I'm saying, and this is for people who are watching, it's not a justification that you have to make change. It's honoring all aspects of yourself.
Yep.
There's
Yeah.
no judgment, there's no criticism in any of it, and there's nothing wrong with having an understanding. But a lot of people are struggling because they're like, man, this isn't working for me. What's wrong with me?
Yes.
What's wrong with you? You're actually stepping into your authentic self.
Because the world of matter pathologizes everything. It needs to have a label for everything to make sense of what's going on around it. When I said ADHD, I don't actually have ADHD. Somebody else on the outside looking in would be
Yes.
thinking that I have it because I'm darting around through. I mean, I was doing a journaling session yesterday morning, and within 2 hours, I'd added on, I think it was either 4 or even 5 different projects that I'm working on. There were journaling entries that were going into each one of those. Thank you, ChatGPT, because I was keeping all those threads open and bouncing from one to the other. Anybody outside looking in, if we take teachers in classrooms, anybody doing that in a classroom would automatically be labeled as ADHD, needing to be on Ritalin, instead of creating learning environments in which allow people to be so divergent, in a sense of being able to work with multiple things at once. And this is how people's brains are wired today. And we then, in our attempt to make sense of something that's different,
Yes.
pathologize these things. And in so doing, we place labels on people, and then people define themselves by those labels. And then we spend the rest of the half of our life unpacking those labels because we find that they're not true anyway. And so I guess when we come back to what you were saying right at the beginning, Alana, around being the light, is that if we can move away as the human race from pathologizing and labeling people to suit an old model of the world, we start to open up anything that is possible. And the
Mm.
source of it, for me, comes back to tapping into that inner child, because that's where, before programming, that's where
Yeah.
our truth sits. So that's my kind of take for the week. It was quite
Mhm.
exciting.
That's awesome.
And like you said about the labels, like we do as a society, as a culture, as a collective, we want to put saying that's something that we don't understand or haven't understood up until this point. Like you said, we had to give it a label. We had to put a box around it because it wasn't fitting in the box. So that's where the labels come in. And it's just, and the reason why I brought it back up, not saying, any one of us or whatever, it's to empower you, those that are listening, to know that, again, like you said, Angela, we are not our labels. We are not a diagnosis, like you said, Pam. These
Right.
things are not us. Even this physical body is not us. There's an energetic being. There's a soul, like there's a thing, soul connection, whatever word you want to put on it. But there's something beneath all that, the awareness that pays attention to it all. And you can't label that. That's the light that's within you. That's what we're talking about, is when you understand that deeper part of you, that's the light that you get to bring into this world, because no one else is like you. You can't label you because no one else in this world has the perceptions, has the understanding, has the awareness, has the experiences that you have. Any one of you that are listening, any one of us. You are a special person. No one else has you. No other soul in this billions of people in this world has you. And when you embrace and understand, and that's what we're talking about, getting into this deeper understanding, learning about ourselves, whatever, when you understand you, that is your light and your power. Just going through this practice of learning a little more about yourself, asking questions. You're here listening to this for a reason.
Mm. Very sobering. And it's also, it's the fact that one of the things that I came across on my journey is a lot about permission. And sometimes something that we say just unlocks something within, and it's not because we're expert. Alana can be saying something that I pick up on in this conversation that, oh, that gives me permission to unlock that piece because of something that she shared from her own experience. And very often when we give ourselves permission and people see us giving ourselves permission to be who we truly are, it gives them the courage to, well, maybe I can do that too.
Mm.
And that was a part of my journey, was just giving myself the permission to be me, warts and all. Shadow, whatever we want to call it. I don't subscribe to these things like defects of character and all the rest of that stuff, because I'm a divine being. Do I have things that I need to work through? Absolutely. Am I bringing in karma from previous lifetimes? Absolutely. It's our journey in terms of being the light is the polishing of our soul. And we're
Mhm.
presented with these people, places, things that come into our lives that are mirrors that allow us to polish our souls and to refine who we are. And then to spread that out in terms of just being, we've got a lighthouse in our logo. And that lighthouse is exactly that, to shine, to be able to give people who perhaps are not on the path yet, or journeying on the path, or even way more advanced than any one of us. It's about the permission to be the light that we are born to be. And as Alana, you are saying, we all are unique. Doesn't matter. You can have how many thousands and millions of people born on the same day under the same star sign, but the planets and the configurations are all different based on where you stay and all sorts of other things that are going on. So we are, you might read a horoscope that says you're Virgo, but it doesn't mean that that's also a pathologized label of who you are, because there's so many different aspects to us. And so permission for me has been a huge thing in terms of stepping into and owning my own light and giving other people the permission to own theirs too.
And that's why I love our lighthouse as well, because it's shining the light so that you can find your path, right? It's shining a light on the path. And whatever that path looks like to you out there, because my path may be different than your path. our paths cross, just as this group of people have come together. Our paths have crossed, right?
Random.
Random, and it's really, really beautiful when we get out of our own way of trying to control things and trying to make things happen, how things can be orchestrated by something greater than ourselves, energetically, by the God of your understanding, creator, universe, whatever it is that you call that. And the lighthouse is exactly that. We're holding space for you to come and join on your own path, and who knows, cross paths with us as well. Because we're here not just holding space, we're here being the light. We're here sharing stories, but not the stories of poor me, right? We've all been there, but those stories don't help us. It's the stories of the lessons that we've learned in those moments of poor me, right? They are just lessons that need to be learned. I love the analogy of high school for our soul's growth, right? This is just where we are learning, where we are growing, where we are evolving. And we get to choose whether we're going to do that or not.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no right or wrong when you decide to take and go on your path. It's all an individual thing. If for some reason it seems like you're holding yourself back, sometimes that's the universe helping to orchestrate and say, divine timing is everything. There's something more you need to learn, right? So we're working in tandem with the universe also on our journey. It's just not a soul thing, meaning soul is only one. We have lots of guides, we have the universe, we have the God of your understanding that are literally helping in this journey, helping us to get to where we want to go, where our desire is. And a lot of people are asking those questions, there's got to be more to life. And I know we've spoken about that before. When you're asking those questions, you're in an exploratory stage.
Yeah.
It's the best way to put it.
It's
You're just curious.
that's the soul. That's your soul issuing you the call to your awakening when you start asking those questions.
100%.
Yeah, and it's the call of the hero, the heroine within each one of us that starts to nudge us and connect us to. Oh, there is some. It's not just that there's got to be something more; that there actually is something more. And that something more is more than we could even dream of what it is and how it unfolds. And it's not la la, we're not in la la land
No.
it's not woo woo. This is actually real stuff. This is even more real than it gets.
Right? It's like we talk about the Matrix all the time or the movie or whatever, where you're plugged in and then all of a sudden you're unplugged and you're like, oh man. So yeah, like you said, there's a lot of conversation around this where everything we're talking about is woo woo. It's out there. It's straight. It is, like you said, more reality than it truly is in the Matrix, if you want to put it that way. Like, yeah.
And also, this is, I think, where we extend our hands to you guys is that if you are going through that stepping out of the matrix and kind of feeling discombobulated and disorientated and going, what next? And where do I go from here? That's our hand reaching out to you to explore with us your soul's journey and the unfoldment of your soul's journey in whatever shape, manner, or form that takes. We have different modalities. We work with different things. Different energies are going to appeal to different people. There's no right. There's no wrong. And that also for me is quite an important thing on quite an important energy on the path is listening to what resonates for you. And if it doesn't feel right, not think right, I think I want to circle back to what Pam was saying a lot earlier on around you can't mental body this. You can't think through this. This is not about your mental body trying to rationalize and make sense of things. Sure, once the intuition is working and you need to put structure to it, that's when the mental body starts to kick in. But you can't rely on here to be able to access your own awakening. It happens, certainly for me, has happened in heart and happened in my my solar plexus. And that's what we listen to. But we drown it out with all sorts of noise.
Mental noise.
Yep. And it's the noise around society, it's the influences, it's the social media, it's the movies, it's the
Mhm.
noise, noise, noise wherever we go. And that's why taking time out to just be quiet. You don't have to be able to meditate into enlightenment in 5 seconds. That's not what it's about. Just being quiet gives you the opportunity to hear your inner voice.
Mm.
Just being still allows that energy to start to move into the vacuum that's being created as you start asking these questions. Because if you weren't asked, if you, by asking the questions, you're wanting to know. By not asking the questions or remaining, I wouldn't say ignorance, not the word, asleep is a better word. If you're still sleeping, that's also okay. But
Mhm.
the minute these questions start popping up into your consciousness, your soul is tapping you on the shoulder going, yep, there actually is something more and it's exciting. Come on this adventure with me.
Mhm. And that mental body that you were talking about, Angela, that mental body is designed to protect us and it will keep us in a survival state. So if we're too much in that mental body, we're not trusting in the intuition that's there. We're not hearing it. That mental body will block out that intuition until it gets to the point that you're going, wait a minute. Because one of the things that I recognize is that working with people is that intuition is there. They only use it for certain things. They don't use it for everything. So when you start to understand that you have it and you are using it, right? A lot of times in the early days, it's about survival, right? But okay, you using it to survive. What if you gave it the permission to help you to thrive and succeed with grace and ease? Right? It's again going back to your idea of permission. Give yourself the permission to shift it to that and then pay attention to it for that. The minute you're going into that mental construct in the old stories, you know that's a survival state. You can, once you become aware of that, you can start to shift out of it and go, oh no, I want to give my wisdom that opportunity to guide me rather than this survival state guiding me.
So the reason why I'm smiling is because I came across and you probably know this little phrase, but I came across a phrase when I was in the States, and we were listening to music, and there was a song that was kind of repeating over and over again. And this woman turned around, she said, "Oh, I've got an earworm." Well, the earworm doesn't go on with music; it's also those stuck records of those over and over and over again messages that keep us small. I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. It don't matter. It's all of those things. They earworms that just keep, or brainworms that just keep going over and over. And that's the mental body out of balance. So even if you just start turning those words around, is that I am enough. I am good enough. And it's not just let me repeat affirmations 50 times during the day. Because if you just wordlessly or just kind of repeating the affirmations without any intention behind it to shift and change, the affirmations are not going to do anything for you anyway. Well, maybe they'll do a bit of reprogramming in the neural pathways, but they're not going to create any significant shift and change. A lot to do with intention is heart space and also solar plexus again. Setting the intention to shift and to change and to respond to those questions that are starting to surface, that's where the magic starts to unfold. Is it easy? I think each one of us could tell you absolutely not. Is it worth it? How
Some days not so much, but definitely worth it. Sorry.
oh, no matter what's going on, even if it's difficult, hell yeah, it's worth it. To go back to what was, not an option.
Not, no
Well,
way.
I want to say to people that once you get on the path, you can't go backwards.
No.
And I've seen that time and time again. You may revisit some things
Yes.
because then that's the universe's way of showing you that look how far you come, right? We have to recognize that sometimes, but you cannot go backwards. You can't unlearn these things that you step into that resonate so deeply and so strongly. It will shatter the constructs.
It's funny that
I
you
would
say like what? Sorry?
carry on, go, Ivana.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I've had people being like, "Oh, I feel like every time I like learn something, I'm moving like that moving backwards thing is it's not a thing. It's literally not. Like you said, it's about you tap further in every single time you go through, even though it feels the same. Every single time you go through that, you are a different version of yourself. you're more advanced, you know more, you understand more, you're at a different stage of that awareness. So even though it feels like, oh, I'm back here again, it feels like I keep moving forward, and two steps forward, one step back, or other way around. Anyway, whatever. Um, we're here to experience it, but we're here to understand it, and it is literally impossible to like. There's definitely times, I'm sure, each of one of us had this in the journey of like, like you said, it's definitely worth it. But sometimes it's like, "Ah, can I just go back? Because sometimes it can be hard. Not hard as in, like, physically demanding, but it's hard because it's different. It is something we haven't learned, we haven't been taught, and it's something that's, like we said, it's out of the construct. So it makes it very makes it harder to wrap our heads around. Am I saying that to tell you that it's hard? No, I'm saying that because sometimes we make it difficult. It's not actually hard.
I agree with the fact that we can't unlearn something that we've been exposed to, but whether we're brave enough to step into that is a whole nother question.
Yes.
Because kind of like the tortoise, we're kind of going along and then all of a sudden something will come and we retreat back into our shell again. Oftentimes that's because we don't yet have, as you've just mentioned, Alana, we don't yet have the skill set that allows us to navigate the new. So we retreat back into what's known. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean to say we're failing. It just means that we don't have the new tools that we need to be able to navigate the new reality that we are connecting with and moving into. And we always talk about it. It's the spiral. And as Alana is saying, is that the same energy may present itself from different people based on our karmic lessons and depending on how deep those karmic lessons actually are as well. We may be getting the same thing coming up and over again. But as we're moving and evolving, so we're developing a new way of being in response to what's actually showing up. And you said it on, Pam, is that that same thing can come up, but the reminder is just look at how far I've come and look at how differently I'm handling that situation, which is pretty much the same lesson. But look at how differently I'm handling number one. And number two, look at how quickly I'm getting back into my new modality and way of being and doing. Because the more it's like a muscle, the more we practice it, the shorter and shorter the time spans are in terms of us regaining that sense of sovereignty instead of leeching it out and giving it away to others. And that comes
Absolutely.
practice and more practice and being willing to step into those difficult spaces when they confront us instead of, okay, but today I actually do need to go to my tortoise because I need some self-care. So I'm actually going to withdraw from the world a little bit. I'm going to let the self-care do what it needs to do so that I can recalibrate and stick my head and my little feet out of my shell and then I can take the next steps. That doesn't mean to say you've regressed. It
That's
means
right.
to say that you're honoring your cycle and you're honoring the energies that you are being exposed to continue your growth. That's certainly been the experience that probably for the last 18 months, 2 years that have been so prevalent in terms of my own path. And now the recalibration is so quick. And
Mhm.
also
Yes.
we retreat into our shell as well for me, certainly to connect with my higher power, to connect with the universe, to ask what the next step will be in order for me to be able to engage from that sense of the higher self instead of reacting the way that I would have before. And I need that time out. That time out for me. In fact, I've just created a new collage, a new vision board. And on it, right at the bottom, it says, time for you to transform. I
Mm.
need time to be able to go through the processing in order to bring in the transformation. And I'm sure you both do exactly the same. And I'm going to shut up now because I've done too much talking today.
It's funny that you're saying that, Angela, because even I'm shifting my schedule with work where I'm putting time in for me, my self-care, my meal time being at a decent time. And that has happened only in the last couple of weeks. I'm like, this has got to change. It has to. But again, I know it's my higher self's going, make the time for you because it's so easy when we're helping other people that you can get lost in helping other people. But if I'm not doing my work and I'm not taking that time for me, I'm only going to bring people as far as I bring myself. And
Exactly.
I'm a really big believer of that. So
And
it's
not
funny
only
that
that,
we're all kind of changing things up a little bit right now. Universe is working its magic.
and
Well,
not
and
only that, that we can't give from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
And particularly when we're in service roles and service careers and doing the kind of work that we do, we are not able to give to people if we're not replenishing ourselves. And that's for anybody who's working in this kind of area. Anybody in a helping profession, carers who are looking after either children or elderly parents, people in the caring professions. If we're not taking the time out to replenish ourselves, we end up with carer burnout and we have nothing left to give.
Yep.
And that's even, and so yes, there's a selfish component to it because I want to continue being of service, but I need to take care of me first.
Yep.
and that's a
And
shift from
that's
the construct.
huge,
Yeah.
particularly for women. Particularly for women.
Yeah, because we're taught, it's been ingrained in us for generations that we're meant to serve and not be selfish. But the problem with that is that we're not, and this is exactly what you're doing, Pam. Of like, you're not being selfish. You've been told this message before, like that you burn yourself out, and you put the like all of this stuff into other people. And again, this goes right back to a perfect example of, when we go through these cycles and have the same thing kind of come up. I'm sure you've received this message before that I need to spend time for myself. I need to designate time, but you finally made a decision and which puts you into action of something different. And this is what it does take is like, as we're going through this ascension, as that same problem reoccurs, we need to then each time, like you said, Angela, we'll go back into that turtle phase. We'll do some self-care and then start moving forward and then be like, oh no, this thing's showing up again and back up again until we have the strength to finally make the decision, which then creates a different action.
Yes.
But we need to go through that process of growth.
Yes. Absolutely.
So freaking good.
Absolutely. And doing things like I've been away for the Dominican, I've been away for this bike trip, doing these things that are filling my cup, loving life, the magic of life. I went through the element of, oh my God, I need to be back at home, but it's like, no, I will better serve people because I am filling my cup, because I am doing those things and I'm walking my talk. Like that is, I think, for all of us, so important. We have to walk our talk because people do feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
They
That's
feel
kind
the
of like
difference.
a mic drop. We have
Right?
to do it ourselves first, okay?
Yeah.
Because we can't, there's no authenticity or integrity in anything that we say or communicate through to you guys if we're not doing this exact practice ourselves. Because then, we would be wasting your time and ours.
Absolutely.
And absolutely not. So it's I'm thinking there's that song of Ruby in the Sky with Diamonds, that kind of energy that we're connecting with when we walk the path, and the diamonds in the sky that guide us all the time. So look out for the lunar eclipse, and in 2 weeks' time the solar eclipse. I think I've got them right. Yeah, whatever. The eclipse season is here. So
100%.
this is new
Yep.
moon now. It's the new moon eclipse, and then we'll have the full moon eclipse later on in the month. So look out for it. And what is it that you want
So
shared?
I was going to say, what are you telling people to look out for?
A lot of it's got to do with emotions because there's a lot of energy with Cancer as well as Virgo. And Virgo's all around. It's not so much the perfectionism, but order and structure and all of those. It's not the structure of Scorpio, which is Saturn energy. It's the grounded earthing energy that you're going to be, what you want to and what you need to ground in order for the seeds that are you to spring open. What needs to crack open in order for you to be able to release your light and your love and everything that you are out into the world. And also a lot of emotional release. So if you're feeling a lot of emotion, the moon is always linking to emotion anyway, because that's the moon's energy. So if you're feeling quite intense or intensely around this eclipse, work it through, journal, speak to somebody,
Allow it.
allow it to surface. And yes, it can be uncomfortable, but take the time out. And if you need to retreat into your tortoise shell, do so, your turtle shell, do so that you can navigate your way through your feelings. And the best way that I know how to do that is just to write it out. And there are times when I look back on my journaling, there are times where I would almost gouge into the paper. The feelings were so strong. Just let it out, get it up, get it out. And if you've got somebody or any one of us that you can read that stuff that's coming up out to, that loosens it even more, because you're giving voice to it and it's releasing out of your body. So those are the two ways that I know for sure of how
And,
to manage those emotions.
and for anyone who's in the Georgina area, I am hosting again my Sacred Circle of Being on September 21st. So that's a place where you can step in and speak your wisdom. You can be seen, you can be heard, and, share what you need to share. Maybe even hear your own wisdom for the first time. So don't hesitate to come out, reach out to me, leave a message. It's out in Pufferlaw, so it's close for people. And reach out to me, and I will happily send along the address. It's at 6:30 on the 21st, and 6:30 till 9. So
And
I was
just
gonna say,
talking about that, sorry, Alana, just talking about that, I'm releasing Circles of Truth on Monday for the first time. It's actually a continuation of work that I was doing during COVID, where we started to talk. It was called hashtag rising with one voice. It was all about, through the garbage that was going on through COVID, that women needed to come together to rise with one voice. And then that converted to rise, and now that's converted into Circles of Truth. So the first Circles of Truth, which is in a new energy, a new vibration, is online on Monday, and I will send Alana the information so that if you want to have a look, see, you're more than welcome. And yeah, our circles are starting to connect all over the place.
oh, of course. I was just going to say the other thing about expressing that, like, what's going on in conversation or expressing it out after your journal or whatever, it also brings clarity. And so sometimes when we feel like we're stuck in something we're seeking, it's not even guidance as much as we're seeking clarity for ourselves. And by speaking it out, you get the clarity as much as you're releasing it. You get the clarity that you need and the understanding from it, like you said, Pam, about hearing your own wisdom.
yeah.
And usually that's
Uh,
all it.
yeah. How many times do you verbalize something to somebody and you actually find your answer?
Hi, I'm
cook.
Celia.
Oh, I don't know what's that. Um, you get that as you're talking, oh, and you come up with your own answer. You're actually not even looking for answers from somebody else. You're
No,
just needing a sounding board to get it up and out so that you can hear your soul.
yeah,
This
absolutely.
is awesome, awesome, awesome discussion tonight. Well, tonight for me. Morning for you guys, but tonight for me.
Afternoon, evening, all the things.
Oh, thank
Okay.
you, ladies. Incredible as always.
Yep. Pammy, you want
So,
to lead us?
are we ready to close? Say our
Yeah, I
goodbyes. Okay.
think we're complete.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here. As the circle closes for now, the light remains, not just here, but within you. Let the teachings echo through your being like a lighthouse calls over the sea. Steady and unwavering, not like my talking, and sovereign. Share what touched your soul. Subscribe if you feel the call. And always remember, you are the light. You are the way. And the circle will be here when you need to return.
And not only subscribe, but share the wisdom with somebody else too. That will also be.
Absolutely. Please do. Share away. Thank you,
Thank you
thank you,
so
ladies.
much. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone.
everybody, for participating.
God bless.